Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 133. And yeah, we're under 8 weeks out. My body's responding really well. And me and my coach we're doing carb cycling right now. Or it's 5 consecutive days of just not really low carb, but just cutting the carbs. Because I went from about 275 a day carbohydrates to about 150, and it's 5 consecutive days of that, and then on the sixth day it's 300 grams of carbs, and then we just repeat the cycle. And I know it works because I've done it before. And what helps is that I've been getting clean anyway. You know, I'm not one of them dudes who cheat on their diet. Or who kind of Jones for certain things and whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong, because I do think of like, oh damn, I can't wait to have this or that after the show, but it's not like I'm obsessing over it. It's not like a lot of people I know, they literally make lists of what they're gonna eat, and I'm like, I'm cool. Just give me a burger and some fries and maybe some ice cream, and that's it. I don't really do too much. I don't really blow it out the water like that, or I don't really crave sweets anyway. Because even at work, they had somebody brought in 2 dozen donuts, and I looked at it and looked at. I just looked to see what they were. I wasn't curious about eat. You know, about eating one or this and that, or like they're always having work parties and everything, and I'm just sitting there with my meal prep and my water. Or sometimes I'll get a little spicy and have like a diet coke or something, or Coke Zero, whatever it is. But yeah, for the most part, man, it's literally the same thing every day in and day out. And I don't mind it. I actually enjoy it in a weird type of way. It just gives me a sense of control. Yeah, because if I can control, what my body looks like, I can control my mental. I can control everything else that's happening within me. I just can't control what's going on around me, and that's fine. Whatever. But it was funny because I was gonna make a reel about this and put this on my Instagram, but I decided not to. The other day I was practicing my posing, and this one young kid. I didn't realize how young he was. I thought he was like in college, but he's in high school, and so in the gym I train at, I know my fitness in Kalihi. It's an open air gym, and so during the summer months it gets really really hot in there. Probably around this time it's probably averaging about 95 degrees in there every day, and but I'm used to it because that's how I like to train. And so this, and we have this huge industrial fan right next to our posing stage. So usually I go through a few routines, a few sets of me doing the poses and doing the mandatories and the walk and everything, right? And I literally jump off the stage and I go stand in front of the fan just to just to cool myself down because it's so hot in there. And the kid goes, "Hey man, are you done posing?" And I go, and I didn't hear him because I had my headphones in. And so I took them off, and I was like, "Oh, what's that, bro?" And he's like, "Oh, are you done posing?" You know, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I am. Go ahead, do your thing, man." So I hopped back on stage after he was done with his posing, and I didn't notice him at the time, the first time, but the whole entire time I was going through my transitions and my movements, he was copying my movements, and he was trying to mimic my movements, and and he was telling me like, yeah, man. He's like, I come in here, everybody's fit, everybody's this, everybody's that, yada yada yada, and that's when I asked him, like, yeah, man, well, how old are you? Like, and how long you been training? And he goes, well, I'm 15, and I've been training consistently since December, but I try to get in here when I can, and I try to get these lifts in. And I was like, bro, I was like, hey, man, there's like small steps create, great distances. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, small steps create great distances. And I told him, I was like, yo, everything you do on a day-to-day basis it's going to show up one way or the other, you know. So as long as you keep putting the work and keep showing up and keep doing the best you can, and it's like, and I was like, there's a lot of people in you who can help you, you know, get to where you want to go. You know, there's a lot of people in there who have knowledge, who, you know, who've been where you're at. You know, we've all been a high school kid that doesn't really know what to do in the gym. Shit, I remember when I was in high school, my senior year, I could not bench press. I think I couldn't bench press the bar, and that was in August of 2005. And by April or May of 2006, that's how long ago this was. I was benching 135, and my body was just wasn't accustomed to, you know, to lifting weights. It's like I wasn't strong. I felt intimidated too, because a lot of the guys, you know, who was in my weight training class, you know, they were, you know, well advanced or more advanced than I was, and a lot of them were football players too. So you dealing with guys who, you know, who are 16, 17 years old, who know who can bench press 315, 360, you know, squat fucking 405, and then, you know, leg press 600. I mean, it's like you're dealing with dudes who are just beasts, you know, and and bodybuilding, man, is like, once I figured, okay, like, yo, I got to do X, Y, and Z to get where I need to go. I started doing that, you know. I remember me and my dad, Thanksgiving Day, 2005. Uh, we drove the Sports Authority because they were open and we needed shit to do because it was Thanksgiving and we didn't want to be at the house. And we ended up buying what they call a universal bench press set. We know, and I still have it to this day. It's a, you know, it's a little beat up, a little old, but you know it does its purpose, right? And it's one of them benches where you can do flat bench, incline bench, or you can do decline. I mean, incline, flat, and decline. And it's a pretty solid bench for the most part. It's, you know, it's one of the first. It's one of the things that me and my dad did. So I was like, I'm probably gonna have that bench for forever, you know. And I'm never ever gonna get rid of it because it has some, you know, sentimental value to it. You know, because my dad was the one who introduced me to weightlifting. Ironically, the summer before my senior year, I remember telling my mom, I'm like, hey, yeah, you know, I wanted to join 24-hour fitness, this and this and that. And I think at that particular time, they had a special where you could buy annual memberships. And it was like, you pay like 600 for like 3 years at one time fee. And for 3 years, you pay like 600. Then after that, it's like, it was like $20 a year or something crazy like that. And my mother at the time, she didn't want me to sign up for whatever reasons. and well, frankly, because she was a control freak. She still is a control freak. And I love my mother to death, but she's a control freak. And anyway, so I didn't have access to a gym, but what I did have, we had these old school welding and concrete weights in the garage, and we had this welder old school bench press, and I pretty much destroyed the shit out of that bench press. It's like, it took me like 6 months of using it, and I literally broke that damn thing in half. It was pretty bad. Or I would get up in the morning before school, and I would go lift in my garage. I remember one morning my dad told me, because my dad would get up early, get up like at 4:30, 5 o'clock, you know, iron his clothes for work, and then I would set my alarm, and I would literally change out into work clothes. I mean, workout clothes at 5 o'clock in the morning and go lift for 45 minutes. And I remember my dad telling me, like, "Hey man, what you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go lift." He's like, "Oh, okay." Good. It was like, it wasn't normal for me at that particular time. Being 16, 17 years old to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a weekday. Hell, I barely ever got up at 8 o'clock on a weekend. And and yeah, man. And as soon as I saw my body changing, um, it was crazy because I didn't realize this at the time, but everybody has strong points, and my strong points were, or not were, but they're my biceps, my shoulders, my traps, and one of my weak points was always my legs because of the physical disability, and my chest. My chest has taken probably about a decade to get right. And then it was crazy because I knew nothing about nutrition, you know, and it wasn't until like after college where I started being more health conscious. Because like I said, I mentioned before in other episodes that I was about 195, and it took me about a year to come down from 195 to 130, 135. And ever since then, I just never looked back. Um, and I credit bodybuilding for help saving my life because without that, without the people that I met, the good influences, the bad influences, everybody in between, is that I would not be the man that I am today simply because of the arena that I live in. And bodybuilding to me, man, it's something that you can't explain. It's either you love the sport or you just don't like it. Um, it makes me think of this personal trainer. Um, he can't stand bodybuilding. And I remember one day I asked him, because we was having a conversation. I asked him, like, "What about bodybuilding don't you like?" And he goes, "Well, it's a vain sport, this and this and that. You got guys on stage, yada yada yada, boom 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 boom." I was like, "Oh, so you don't hate bodybuilding? You hate competitive bodybuilding. There's a difference." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, there's a difference. It's like you hate competitive bodybuilding because of all the arrogance and everything else that comes with it, right?" Because I said, if you look at your job, bro, uh, that's what you do. You build bodies. You help people get in better shape. You help them, body composition, all that shit. All that shit is bodybuilding. Being a competitive bodybuilder is different because you're dealing with, you have a particular goal in mind. You have a particular way you want to look and how you want to feel, and how you want your muscles to pop and yada yada yada, everything else, right? So a lot of people dislike competitive bodybuilding because it will make the most easygoing person, the most social person, the opposite. And a lot of people don't understand it, and that's fine because it's not meant for everybody to understand. Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. And to get back to that kid, and so I was talking to him, and I helped him go through some poses and everything too. I was like, "Dude, if you ever need help and you see me in the gym, don't hesitate to come up there and bug me and ask me questions, bro." Because like I said, I told him, I was like, "Yo, we've all been where you at, man. And if you need help with anything, you let one of us know, and we'll gladly help you. It's not an issue. Because for me, I always want to make people feel welcomed. I'm never gonna be an asshole to people just to be an asshole. Because there are some people out there who just don't like other people for what reasons unknown, and it's like that says more about them than anything else. And it's always interesting to me when people don't want to help other people. And like their reason behind it is like, "Oh, so and so never helped me when I was coming up." It's like, so why would you want to, perpetuate the same tired cycle. No, that don't make any sense. And I think that's extremely important because a lot of people will they don't understand how detrimental that is. Because you're dealing with somebody who needs help, needs guidance, but you won't give it to them simply because you didn't get the same thing. It doesn't make any sense. Um, but yeah, bodybuilding, man, is like I went from the kid who had a funny walk, who had a stutter, still has a stutter to an extent. To an extent, there it goes. You see, there it is. And I've now became the guy that people come to for advice when it comes to fitness and bodybuilding and everything else in between. And it's just something that I love, man. I don't want to say that it gave me purpose, but bodybuilding helped me find my purpose. And that's something I'm forever grateful for because it's imperative that you find out what you like and what you don't like. I was telling this one girl that I know, I was like, yo, okay, that's great. Finding out what you like is great, but it's also more important to find out what you don't like. Because what you don't like is going to influence you on what you do want to do. And it's not something to be ashamed of. It's it's whatever. Everybody runs their own race, at their own pace. And as long as you're moving forward, it doesn't matter. It made me think about y'all remember that book, the title and the hair, the turtle and the turtle and the hare, or turtle and the rabbit, and basically it's a children's book, and talks about like how the hare would ran through the race at top speed, this and that, but he got so far ahead that he stopped and took a break and he fell asleep, and the turtle ended up running the race at his own pace, and he ended up passing up the rabbit because the rabbit fell asleep, and then he won the race. So moral of the story is that run your own race at your own pace. It doesn't matter whether it's, I don't care if it's music, bodybuilding, whatever it is. Getting a college degree. I've had people try to talk shit to me about my album that's been delayed multiple times. I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna sit here and justify why I'm delaying my shit to you. Like, why would I sit here and justify that when you haven't even done anything that you want to do yet? So, it's crazy the fact that people will try to critique you, but not realize that they need to critique themselves first, And we're all guilty of that. We're all guilty of not doing what we said we're going to do or whatever it is, and not holding ourselves accountable. Me, myself, self-accountability is a big thing. I don't understand how people can go through life and not take accountability for the things that they've done or haven't done. Simply because of or whatever reason. And it's crazy the amount of excuses that people will sit there and make, rather than just saying like, yo, I don't want it as bad as I told you I want it, or I don't want it because it's simply just too much work. And that's fine. If you don't want to do it because it's too much work, that means you don't, that means you're not ready. That means you're not ready, and that means you're just wasting your time. And that goes with anything and everything, man. The type of people you date, the type of people you hang out with, the type of people that you associate with, the type of people that you don't want to outgrow. Because a lot of people will sit there and make excuses for why they haven't done what they what they wanted to do, or they haven't done anything that they that they set out to do. And it's like my dad used to always say, man, everybody has excuses, but in reality, none of them are really valid. And when you sit there and you think about it, and when you think about the excuses that people have given you over the years or whatever it is, and a lot of the times it's like people are just so fucking afraid to go out there and fail that they'd rather be living in mediocrity. So There's that. But this is about 20 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Appreciate y'all. Hope y'all keeping the 4Ps. Probably play a positive pushing. See y'all next week. I love y'all. And always remember, know your worth because you're better than what you're doing. All right, y'all. Goes.